Hello, 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 sensitive souls. Jenn Broekman's here, coach for sensitive souls who struggle with the overwhelm and emotional fatigue that can come with being highly sensitive. Alrighty, hello, good evening, friends. I'm so happy to see you here on this hot and humid Friday evening. So I had a question today that I'm going to address, because it was taking me too long to address and to respond to, because it was a great question, and I thought it might be helpful to others. So the question was around how to respond to someone who's responding in a passive-aggressive way, or what might be seen as potentially passive-aggressive. And so to answer that, I'm not necessarily addressing specifically passive-aggressive behavior, but any time we come into contact with somebody and it brings up a response in us, this is how I try to respond. One, I look at the person's, I view the person's behavior, and I realize that how they react, how they treat me, what they say is on them and has nothing to do with me. Obviously, if we're being a certain way, it could cause a response in someone else. But, if I say something, how they react is not my responsibility, basically. And if they are being, as an example, passive-aggressive, it's not my fault, and it's not my responsibility, and it's not something that I need to take on. That's the first thing. Each person is responsible for their response, for how they respond to things in life. And everyone has valid feelings, like everyone's feelings are valid, right? But if someone is being passive-aggressive with me, that's not on me. And it typically has less to do with me and more to do with them. That's what I was trying to say. So that's the first part of it. The second part is kind of specifically with how to respond. And I would say that is different with different situations. It comes down to a video I did about doing the right or wrong thing. The more we become connected to our soul, as we start to pull back those layers and really connect to our intuition and connect to our deepest self, we're gonna get those. We're gonna get that pull to say something or do something, or maybe not to do or say anything at all. And so there really isn't anything I can script or say, because different situations warrant different responses, and it really depends on each person's energy too, right? So it's very individualistic. And when I have an interaction with the same person, each situation might warrant a different response. And that is soul-led. Like, we can connect to our soul and find what that is. Sometimes it might be saying something and speaking up for ourselves, and sometimes it might be like, I'm just going to leave that and walk away. And sometimes it means cutting that person off. It just depends on what feels best to us. And thirdly, regarding the energy, when we interact with people like that, it tends to stir things up in us. And so I know a lot of different people will say, how to detach from energy that is not ours and whatnot. And we can always choose not to do anything. But my belief is that, and what I was taught by my mentor, Caroline DuPont, is that our energy bodies are extremely intelligent. And so if my energy body interacts with another person's energy body, and reaction is stirred, that means it's in my energy body, and because it's showing up in my energy body, it is there for a reason, right? Our energy bodies don't show us things without reason. So just because it was stirred up by that person doesn't mean it isn't mine to also look at. And so when we encounter these situations, it's a good time to, not necessarily directly in the moment, but like later on, I did a video on energy integration, and this is kind of when this is very valuable. You know, it's sitting down, journaling or meditation tend to be the best for these. You're sitting down and really looking at what was stirred up, the thoughts, the emotions, looking at your body, even sensations, because you're looking at the energy and really saying what is showing up and just sitting with that discomfort. Because the energy is showing itself. It may be in an emotional reaction, it might be anger or defensiveness. It may be a bunch of different emotions, a bunch of different thoughts, and it might be different sensations in the body. When we go in and we sit with it, that's when we give energy the space to unravel. And because likely whatever they're stirring up isn't to do with that interaction, it's stirring up something older. So an example for me, I want to give an example, would be like if I interacted with someone who is passive aggressive and it triggered a feeling of anger and frustration, of not being seen. And then that relates to some time in my childhood where I didn't feel seen, right? And so it's actually connected to something much older. And what I find is, yeah, you know, those energies need to be sat with. But the last thing I wanted to say, because a lot of people are very firmly on that someone else's energy is theirs, and I don't want to deal with that, and that's perfectly fine. But the reason I really feel that this is true for me, okay, I'm back. Sorry, that was an internet issue. The reason that I feel that this is very true is because I have specifically had certain things that used to trigger me. And when I had certain interactions with someone, and it would make me, let's say, defensive. So every time I had this interaction, not with the same person, but necessarily different people, and my reaction was defensive and to feel angry. Every time that happened, I would notice, okay, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling defensive, where am I feeling it in my body? Give it space. I would sit with it in my evening meditation. And over time, that was just, it wasn't stirred up in me anymore, because I was pulling back the layers on it. And so that's why I do feel that whatever comes up in the energy body is for me to see, because it's in my energy body. I'm feeling it. It's there for me to see. Whether I'm ready to do that or not is a different matter, because there are times where something, the energy body's like, oh, maybe this is a good time, and you're like, nope, can't do that today. not today. And that's perfectly okay too. It'll come back up another time when the body thinks it's safe to do so. So yeah, that is my answer. I hope that is helpful. If you have any questions or comments about that, I would love to hear them. If you feel that this is helpful, please share. And yeah, I'll try to link to the energy integration video, and what other one did I mention in there? I'll look over it, and I'll try to put those in the text box so that you can have a look at those. And yeah, if that's something that, challenging situations and things like this where you want, like, you could use some help going through the energy integration process and like sitting with it and sitting with the energy, that is my jam. It is what I do, and I offer one-on-one sessions. So you can send me a private message and just say you're interested, and we can have a chat. But anyways, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your Friday. I will also say rest of your weekend, but I will be back on video tomorrow. But yeah, much love to all of you.